Hello everyone, it's Johnny 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿, and today's video is about my first listen to the new album from JPEGMAFIA called LP. I arrived a bit late to the Peggy party. The first I heard from him was actually 2019's All My Heroes Are Cornballs. I remember being very aware of Veteran when it was getting a lot of attention when that came out, but I very foolishly gave that one a miss and I really need to go and give it a listen sometime. I still haven't heard it. But in my live stream to listen to the new LP, we did listen to a couple tracks off Veteran just so I could get a feel of what that album was all about. And it did seem to be quite a bit darker and more aggressive than what I've got used to hearing from Peggy. Sounds great though. In any case, when I first heard JPEGMAFIA in 2019, I remember when I first curiously clicked play on opening track Jesus Forgive Me, I'm a Thot, I was not ready.
Pray you get comfy in your disguise. Pray for my thoughts.
Remember that sample straight away. JPEGMAFIA makes some of the most uncompromisingly creative hip-hop you will ever hear. He seems to create his art with no filter, no boundaries or inhibitions. Within just a few minutes of hearing his music, you start to get the feeling that you know the guy because he just pours so much of his personality into his songs.
I put my soul in every bar, in every verse, man.
But yeah, since enjoying Cornballs, I've listened to everything he's put out, and I especially enjoyed last year's EP.
Your triggers busting, niggas ducking, I got the right clip. Good manners, all the damage, and teaching niggas how to get busy on USB mics. Rapping like School of D and dressing like man to PI.
And then there was EP2 that came out earlier this year, and I was a little bit disappointed with that one. I still enjoyed it, but it seemed to me to be a less intense, kind of softer side of Peggy. The singles he's put out for LP though have been extremely exciting. The album has been getting rave reviews since release, so I went into the album with really high expectations. So do me a favor and click the like button on this video and let's get into the LP. The album opens with the very inspiring and even optimistic Trust. This one was put out as a single a little while back and I really enjoyed it then, as well as its music video. Something about the way Peggy says everything's cool, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling nice. It resonates with me and I think it works really well as an opening track.
I don't even feel, I'm feeling nice. These soldiers can dive. Whoa, I won't even
The sound of this one is quite open, not as thick as some of the tracks to come. So it kind of eases you into the sonic world of this album without overwhelming you too quickly.
No, I just speak facts. Niggas be bluffing. I won't even lie. I'm looking good.
Track 2 is called Dirty, and after a kind of chopped and screwed sounding opening, the song bursts to life with these high frequency samples that sound amazing. Oh damn. It's kind of delirious, and about halfway through the song goes into this particularly dark and psychedelic sounding section. It's quite shocking, but I think it sounds great. He's dropping a lot of memorable lines here, but on the first listen, I was just kind of overwhelmed by its sonic intensity. All these songs at the start of the album are around 2 minutes long, and they all hit you with so much so fast. It kind of all goes by in a bit of a blur. Track 3, Nemo, is the most bizarre yet, with its strangely squelchy instrumental. But JPEGMAFIA puts this modern rap flow over it, and it creates something that sounds at once current and yet completely off the map. By the end, it sounds more like some IDM than the hottest new hip-hop record. I guess it reminds me of that latest Injury Reserve album in just how deconstructed it sounds. As the next track, End Credits, begins, it sounds like the start of a hardcore punk track or something, as Peggy is yelling over these distorted guitars and live drums. Turns out it's a sample of the prog metal band Animals as Leaders, which is unique to say the least. And that was actually the shortest song yet. Peggy has no problem introducing a really radical idea and then moving straight onto the next one. Track 5 is the most recent single he put out called Hazard Duty Pay, and this is a beautiful track. When I heard the single, I thought it felt like such a subversion of what I was expecting, and yet it also feels like the perfect progression from his last album. You know, again, it has such an optimistic feeling about it, while also being really intense. The classic soul samples are gorgeous, and yet the song feels so heavy just by how thick and layered the samples are. The album is already pretty overwhelming by this point, it's hard to absorb everything at once. But I remember feeling that way about Cornballs as well, and actually those first couple listens where I felt most overwhelmed are actually the ones that I look back on the most fondly now. So I'm just enjoying this feeling of being swamped in the sound. Track 6 is called God Don't Like Ugly. This is actually the shortest song on the album. It's another soul-based track, but this time with no drums, but a great atmosphere and with some standout lyrics.
I'm a young Frank Zappa, y'all Sarah Palin. Just simple, basic, no balance. Some niggas is washed up.
Yeah, I think at this point JPEGMAFIA can probably get away with calling himself the young Frank Zappa. Track 7, What Kind of Rappin' Is This, has another amazing beat, again with those incredible high-frequency samples. I think it sounds otherworldly. Oh God. I'd go as far as to say the brightness of the samples remind me of Animal Collective's Merriweather Post Pavilion. You know, it's that layered and lush. I even thought it might be sampling that stuff at one point. It's the longest track yet, but I could have listened to it even longer. It's definitely one of my favorites on the album.
Like it low when I'm back in the house. Little bitch, I've been rapping like this. Barry, I'm taking a hit. He carried across.
Track 8 is called Thot's Prayer, and this one is bafflingly based around an interpolation of Britney Spears' Baby One More Time.
It's killing me inside. I'm losing this. I still believe.
It's delivered in this melodic auto-tune style that showed up a bit on Cornballs, but a lot on the recent EP2. And it more or less works for me. I think Peggy has a really good ear for melody over unlikely backdrops. Although it is a bit corny, the Britney lyrics are kind of hard to get over. I couldn't stop laughing here and there, but it sounds good. Track 9, Are You Happy, starts with a spoken word sample that's apparently lifted from a techno track.
Am I happy with who I am?
Am I happy with who I am?
Am I happy with the people around me?
It's pretty compelling, and especially because the music stops. It really made me stop and consider what it was saying. Once the song kicks in, the bass is huge, the beat is techy, and Peggy's voice has this processing on it to match the electronics. I really enjoyed the meaning in this song on an album where a lot of the meaning is going over my head due to the thickness of the sound. Up next is Rebound featuring 𝐿𝐴𝐻, and Peggy's charisma on this track is off the charts.
When I look at your shit, I'm like, ha. When I look at my shit, I'm like, Wave cat got me feeling like Rob Dad.
But besides the presence of the MCs, the beat is made up of a strange combination of triumphant horns, deep dubby bass, and eerie ambient pads. All that and Peggy just losing it on top. I was really impressed with this track. It's really creative. Track 11 is called 100 Emoji. Seems Coldplay were ahead of the curve titling their tracks with emojis. And this one is another chopped and screwed kind of moment. This whole track could sound right at home on a DJ Screw mixtape actually. Some pretty entertaining lyrics jump out here and there.
She blew my whistle like a referee. Falls all in the garage.
But yeah, I wouldn't say this is the most memorable moment on the album. The next one, track 12, is called OG, and this is another really short track. This one sounded to me like a more old school hip hop track, but being played 2 rooms away. I guess it's like hip hop production as imagined by Captain Beefheart or something. Peggy does actually come through with some pretty nice bars with an old school flow though, and I think it works. Track 13 is called Dikembe, and we get more top-notch charisma from Peggy here. The beat is so dense, it almost feels like we're listening to some dub techno at times here. The next song is the longest on the album, a full 5-minute track, and it's called Tired, Nervous and Broke. And man, it deserves the length, because this is absolutely another highlight on the album. The beat is abstract and cloudy, but Peggy goes absolutely bananas on it. I love this.
Kicky making fire. I never passed the torch. Bruce Wayne.
And the song is rounded off with a beautiful piano duet with 𝐿𝐴. Another unlikely moment that Peggy is able to pull off so naturally.
It's too late for me, baby.
Track 15 is titled Flame Emoji. It starts out like another auto-tuned cut of the kind we heard a lot on EP2.
You better lock your door, shorty. You gon' slide right in.
Not the best vocals on the album for me, but I did enjoy the general mood, especially when the dusty lead synths came in. It was almost sounding like a classic vaporwave track or something. Pretty cool, even if it's not quite what I expected from a track titled with a flame emoji. Track 16 is called Nice. It's another short track, and this one mostly consists of some yelled chants that again sound like they're coming from a few rooms away, again with the Captain Beefheart recording techniques. I found this one a bit inconsequential though, and I have to say at this point in the album I did start to feel fatigued by its length, and track 17, BMT, definitely weighed down hard with its layers of noisy samples. Once it kicks in though, the beat is gnarly and hits pretty hard. So distorted. I did enjoy Peggy's delivery and the sentiment of this one. Again, he shows his ability to put tasty rap flows over strange instrumentals.
Your bass, fuck that harness, fuck them planes, fuck your music, fuck them chains, fuck your videos, fuck your face.
And the strange atmosphere continues into track 18, The Ghost of the Ranking Dread. The song starts out quite swampy, but again with JPEGMAFIA laying down his rhymes with so much charisma.
Last year, bitch, I be the sentence. That's what these hoes just want the attention. Stop talking. I see you blur your face for the gram.
But partway through, the song takes a pretty unexpected turn by reintroducing the triumphant horns from Rebound, but this time with some grungy electric guitar backing them up. Such an unusual combination, but it's beautiful. Track 19 is called Damn Damn Damn, and this one starts out pretty slow and honestly uneventful, which isn't really what I want to hear this late in the album. Once the beat comes in and Peggy does his thing, it gets better.
I'm such a negative bitch. My friends turn on me, then I turn rich. Sodom Gomorrah, I turn back, they still talking shit.
But it's not one of my favorites, and I think it feels a bit like filler on an album that really doesn't need it. And that just leaves us with the last song, track 20, which is Untitled. And this one definitely takes us out with one of the more bizarre atmospheres on the album. It reminded me again of Injury Reserve's By the Time I Get to Phoenix, just by how broken it all sounds. For an album that's so full of life and positive energy, it sure is a dark way to end the album. I think it works really well though, and I'm glad I listened to the offline version of the album so that it closes out this way, instead of ending with some of the EP tracks I already knew. This felt to me very well rounded and a really satisfying way to end the album. Like I said at the start of the video, I think JPEGMAFIA is so good at transmitting who he is as a person through his music, and you get so many different emotions and feelings through these songs. I actually feel that on this album he's done that more successfully than ever. After listening to this album, I feel that we know better than ever his joys, his fears, his light, his darkness. You know, the full breadth of his personality is on display here. I did feel this was a very overwhelming album on first listen, which as I mentioned does have its upside. It's really compelling. But in the last quarter of the album, I did start to feel my receptors were overloaded and fried, but I was blown away by the creativity on display here. There were top quality production ideas and vocals from start to finish, minus a couple of little bumps on the way. And I think this album is at least as strong as the best I've heard from him up to this point. And I would say this is definitely another artistic triumph for JPEGMAFIA. So all the clips in this video of my first listen to this album are from my live stream over on Twitch. If you'd like to join me for more full album listening parties, follow me over there at twitch.tv/JohnnyCouture. You can also find a link in the description to our Discord where you can talk to me and our community about this music. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting me with the link in the description to buy me a coffee. It really helps me to be able to keep making these videos, keep my channel going, so I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take it easy.